In life, there's no finish line, right? You never get declared the winner. The whole point is just to keep playing for as long as you possibly can. But what if I told you that business works the exact same way? That's the huge idea from Simon Sinek's The Infinite Game, and it's a total game changer for how you think about success. So I want you to really think about this for a second. In your own career, in your company, are you just playing to beat the competition this quarter, or are you playing to build something that's going to last long, long after you're gone? Seriously, the answer to that one question changes absolutely everything. And this chart right here, it just lays out the two approaches perfectly. See, the finite mindset is all about fixed time frames and beating other people, kind of like a football game. But business is not a football game. There are no fixed rules, there's no clock on the wall, and hey, new players can jump in anytime they want. The infinite mindset gets this. The goal isn't to win, it's to keep playing, to just keep getting better at a game that literally never ends. All right, so let's dig into this first big idea, the trap of thinking in these short, finite terms when you're stuck in an infinite game. It is a mistake that countless companies make, and honestly, the consequences can be absolutely devastating. And I bet these traps look pretty familiar. A finite-minded leader? They'll lay off loyal, hardworking people just to make the quarterly numbers look a little better. And in the process, they kill all that long-term trust and innovation. Or they'll tolerate that one toxic employee, you know the one I'm talking about, just because they're a high performer, and it just erodes the morale of the entire team. And you know what? Eventually, just chasing win after win, it loses its thrill, and your own personal drive just fizzles out. So how do you avoid this trap? Well, Sinek says it all starts with the first of three key ideas. You have to find your just cause. And this isn't just some fluffy mission statement. This is the real, fundamental reason your organization even exists. A just cause is this vision of a future that doesn't even exist yet. It's a world you want to help build that's so compelling, so important, that you and your people are actually willing to make real sacrifices to see it happen. It's your ultimate why. To really get the power of a just cause, you have to hear this incredible story. During the absolutely brutal 900-day siege of Leningrad in World War II, a group of scientists were locked inside the world's very first seed bank. They were literally starving to death, surrounded by tons of edible seeds and potatoes. And yet, they didn't eat them. 9 scientists died of starvation. One survivor later explained why, saying it wasn't even difficult to resist because what was at stake was the cause of your life, preserving global food security for generations to come. That is the unbelievable power of a just cause. And this applies directly to business. Henry Ford's cause wasn't just to sell cars. He wanted to open the highways to all mankind. Or more recently, think about CVS. They committed to their cause of putting people on a path to better health by removing all cigarettes from their stores. Investors hated it at first, but that move ultimately strengthened their position in the infinite game. So it all comes back to this one question. You have to ask yourself, what is the cause that's bigger than profit, bigger than the next quarterly report? What future are you really willing to sacrifice for to help build? Okay, so once you have your just cause, the second piece of the puzzle is to find a worthy rival. And this completely flips the script on the idea of competition. It's not about finding someone to beat. It's about finding someone who reveals your weaknesses and forces you to get better. I want you to just think about this moment. After Roger Federer played his final tennis match, he sat down right next to his fiercest rival, Rafael Nadal. These two had battled for years, trading the #1 spot back and forth. And in that moment, they both wept. They weren't enemies. They were like brothers in arms, locked in this relentless pursuit of greatness. They pushed each other, they studied each other, and they made each other better. They advanced the entire game of tennis together. So a worthy rival isn't an enemy that you're trying to destroy. They are a competitor you actually admire, maybe even cherish, because they expose your flaws and they force you to become a better version of yourself, all in service of your just cause.
And this kind of dynamic plays out in business all the time. Ford doesn't just see Toyota as a threat, they're inspired by them, learning from them how to build better quality cars. And back in the 80s, Apple used its rivalry with IBM to make its own cause crystal clear. If IBM was for the big corporations, then Apple was for the individual, for the misfits and innovators.
And now for the third and final enabler, which honestly might be the most crucial one in the world today. Having the courage to rethink the rules. Because in an infinite game, believe me, the rules are always changing. That's the key difference right there. In a game like chess or soccer, the rules are fixed. Everybody agrees on them. But in business, or technology, or politics, the rules are constantly in flux. The single most dangerous position you can be in is getting too comfortable with the way things are today. And there is no better example of this than Blockbuster versus Netflix. It's a perfect case study. Blockbuster dominated a game with very clear rules. People come to a store, they rent a movie, and they get punished with late fees. Netflix looked at those rules and basically said, that's ridiculous. So they invented a whole new game where the movie comes to you and late fees just don't exist.
Blockbuster was so comfortable, so stuck in those old rules, that they couldn't adapt. They were slow, they dismissed the threat, and ultimately they were forced to leave the game entirely. Meanwhile, Netflix just keeps changing the rules to advance its cause of entertaining the world.
Okay, so let's bring this all together now. How do you actually put any of this into practice? Well, here is your infinite playbook, a simple framework to guide your thinking.
It really just comes down to these three things. Number 1, advance a just cause that you're willing to sacrifice for. 2, find a worthy rival who pushes you to be better. And 3, always be prepared to rethink the rules of the game to better advance your cause.
So here's the bottom line. An infinite mindset isn't about ignoring profits. Not at all. It's about understanding that profits are the fuel, not the destination. When you prioritize your cause and the people who believe in it, the resources you need to stay in the game, they will naturally follow.
And that leaves us with one last thing to think about. The game you're in, whether that's your career or your business, it is infinite. The rules you're playing by today will not be the rules you're playing by tomorrow. So the only question that really matters is, how will you adapt? How will you evolve? And how will you choose to play?